Hello and welcome everybody to Polypop Theory. I am Emily, and in this video we're going to be discussing all the controversy surrounding Chris Pratt and Thor and Love and Thunder. Let's get into it. As I'm sure most of you know, we have yet another Marvel movie coming out this year. This time it's Thor. Wasn't too big of a fan of the second film, Ragnarok. I thought there was just so much humor in it. It was to the point where, okay, did they lather this stuff with all this humor because the storyline's going to be shit without it or what? Anyway, that's not what we're here to discuss. Right now we're here to discuss what the real story is. That being Chris Pratt being a white, upper-class, wealthy family man who loves his children, who also happens to have committed one of the major crimes that can be committed against the Church of Woke, and that is being a Christian man. So Twitter erupts in hatred against actor Chris Pratt after latest Marvel superhero trailer release. Now, of course, because he is a Christian white man with a good loving relationship with children, people can automatically determine that he must be a sexist, racist guy. He must also be transphobic, homophobic, and every other istophobe that is under the sun. But you get where I'm going with this. So Twitter has basically gone rampant over the last, I would say, 10 hours, 12 hours, no, longer than that now. Basically making the assumption that all this sort of inferred gayness that showed up in the trailer, for any of you that watched it, somehow caused Chris Pratt to have some sort of internal combustion or something. Like, because he's Christian, he must have hated all of these scenes. He must have resented the director, Waititi, for having all this written into it, because everything now in Hollywood has to be gay somehow. It just has to be in everything and everywhere. And all of these guys know it. Look at this. Everyone in the movie will be confirmed bisexual. I already have theories about Nebula and Mantis being a thing. Like, even women on screen now, 2 women on screen, like, not even 5 years ago, could appear on screen and they'd just be friends. No, now they must be lesbians for each other. They must be. It's just a matter of time before these guys put enough pressure on the writers and the directors out there for them to just give in to the woke mob and then just snap their fingers and make these characters lesbian for each other, because it's going to make a 15% of the audience happy while everyone else checks out and goes, I am never watching this crap again. Like, Peter is bisexual and poly in the comics, yes, and that's recent, pretty sure. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that because it's been that long since I picked up a comic book, and I'm talking as a comic book fan since early childhood, but I stopped reading Marvel comics around 2012, around the same time that I stopped watching anything to do or reading anything to do with DC Comics. As soon as that New 52 shit came out with DC, I've stopped reading that crap. I picked up my first issue of Wonder Woman and never picked up another one since, because that shit after the New 52 release was just bullshit. It just was not Wonder Woman anymore. It was not DC anymore. I mean, the only thing that's keeping that shit running is Batman, and even that, it's only a matter of time before they ruin that too. But that's for another video. But, like, you get my point. All this shit that's now appearing online as an excuse to go after Chris. I mean, the man has done nothing other than have a belief system and live his life the way he feels is right, and that automatically makes him a hateful person. And yet these individuals online are being infinitely more hateful and judgmental and prejudging someone they don't even know, who has given no reaction, no comment to any of this stuff other than to say God is love and he loves you and all that sort of stuff that he said in previous years. And yet they feel like they can just jump all over him and make these false assumptions about a man they have no idea about because of his beliefs. It's just nonsense. Like, and then getting off on the fact that they think he suffered through this stuff. Like, they're getting off on the fact that another person might have suffered. They have no idea whether it had any of these effects on him whatsoever, but they're getting off on it. They're enjoying this. And it makes them feel, what, superior? I don't know. I feel like they need the notoriety of this in order to give their lives meaning, because they have none in their own lives as it is. I mean, anybody who spends this much time on Twitter who isn't getting paid for it must have no meaning in their lives, which is, well, I would say pathetic, but it's also deeply saddening, because if this is how people choose to live their life and live in a state of just pure hatred, it's just sad. It's like, come on, guys. Like, Why do you care what this guy has to say or how he's living his life when it doesn't affect you at all? It doesn't. You're making it affect you. You're letting it affect you. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, not sure if I'll pay to see the new Thor movie, but I would pay to see a behind-the-scenes film where Taika Waititi commits a series of microaggressions against Chris Pratt for 2 hours. Oh, for God's sake. Like, there's got to be a word for this type of person. There has to be. Just a specific type of word out there to describe someone that gets off on the alleged suffering of others. Someone put in the comments down below what that word is, because right now it escapes me, but I know there's a word for it. But it's in everything now. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is off the table. Everything has to be gay now. We already know that Disney has its own woke agenda, and that these people in these positions that are now pushing forward sort of woke gayness because they want it to be exposed to young children outside of their parents' permission because what? They want to sexualize kids? I don't know. Starting to feel that way, or maybe they think it's going to cause kids to become more accepting of this. I got to tell you though, for someone whose ultimate goal in life is to become a good parent and a good partner to a wonderful husband, like, this is not something that I would be comfortable, and I know for sure that other parents and that out there want their children exposed to without their permission. I guarantee you eventually we're going to reach a threshold where people, like all the normies out there, are just going to go, stuff this. It's in everything. At first it was just like, oh, we can sort of suspend our reality and just watch it for entertainment's sake. No, it's rapidly now getting to the point, and I can feel it, that this is reaching that Oedipus, or whatever the word is, or the peak of woke agenda, that the normal average mother and father are going to say, you know what, kids, we're not taking you to see the new Marvel movie. Why? Because we don't want Hollywood telling us when our children should be exposed to any form of sex or gayness or anything like that when it's got nothing to do with them. Like Chris Pratt, when he saw they have made Star-Lord canon bi in the comic and Taika was directing his next MCU movie. Like, really? Really? I mean, good on them for trying to attempt to make good memes. Like, at least they're trying. Oh, for God's sake. How they managed to make Chris Pratt look more racist. Really? Like, my issue with this is that he looks like the average conservative male. That's what this looks like. The average white conservative male has become to the left synonymous with racist. The overwhelming majority of people in this country and around the world, or at least a decent portion of them, look like this. The pendulum has swung in the opposite direction now. We've gone from being lynching black people in the streets, withholding their rights from them because of the way they looked, to learning to be more ethical, moral, and accepting of people's differences and accepting that people are human just like the rest of us, to let's all hate the white man as vengeance, as revenge for their grandfather's treatment of your grandfather, as if a grandchild is guilty of their forefathers' sins for something that is out of their control. It's bullshit. And the same thing is going to happen, unfortunately, with the gay community. Eventually, people are going to get so sick of this, so angry, that the average person will turn around and say, you know what, I'm tired of being treated as if I'm immediately this hateful person based on the way I look and based on the religion that I follow, and being discriminated against as a result of that. You know what, I'm going to start being a horrible, hateful person towards you because I'm sick of being treated that like I am something and that I'm not. Like, you've caused people. This will cause people to become more radical. Like, there'll be a decent amount of people, if not the majority, that will say, no, I will never sink to that level. But there will be a small fraction, and I bet they're already out there, who will become radicalized and start to hate on people in the gay and the black community. And that's a damn shame, because those people wouldn't exist if Twitter didn't have this agenda Because that's what all this is about. It's not about creating good films to make money for people. It's about pushing an agenda for a group of people that make up, a pitiful percent of the moviegoers and the fans that actually enjoy this stuff, in the hopes of being able to win brownie points from the guys on Twitter. When in reality, the only reason that these people on Twitter have anything to do with these films is because they want to shit all over guys like Chris Pratt. They are not the ones that are going to spend small fortunes and have their children inherit their passion for this part of the industry. I mean, they've got nothing really to lose. The people that have everything to lose are the people that have been fans of this for decades and are now checking out, taking their money with them, and Marvel and Disney are going to basically tear themselves apart through some sort of bullshit controlled demolition, which I'm happy to see, really, because this has been going on for too long. And, a once great company is going to basically just implode from the inside out in order to appease this group of people, just so that the CEO had a greater chance of running for president. Like, really? And this is being shipped all over the world, this sort of ideology. Like, everything that happens in the United States happens everywhere else. And like, if the last 3 years hasn't taught people that, to pay attention to what's going on in the politics and the culture of other nations, and you're completely ignorant. What happens in the US happens everywhere else. America's been exporting its culture to the world since the end of World War II, as well as their politics. And like, you look at what's happening in my country of Australia. Like, at first it was just Australia's nuts. Now you look at Canada. Like, all of a sudden, we're starting to realize how globalized we really are, and how this utter turd shit of an ideology is poisoning every aspect of each of our societies. Let me know how you all feel in regards to all this bullshit. Do you think that Chris Pratt deserves to have all the onslaught of crap from the woke mob that he's been getting, or do you think they just need to lay the hell off of this guy because they don't actually care about Marvel or DC or the Disney company whatsoever? They don't care about these films or the comic book industry. All they care about is pushing an agenda and winning brownie points from their liberal lefty best friends who only exist on the internet. Let me know what you all think. Take care, guys.